So I'm going to take that to mean that we are now live. I can't see anybody watching yet, so maybe we'll just wait for a second. But welcome anyway, if you are here and if you are seeing us, I'll feel a lot more confident when it pops up on my actual YouTube app. But it says we're live.
Is anybody there?
Is anybody there? Maybe let us know in the live chat if you can hear us. Yet, so maybe we'll just wait for a second. But I think we are live now. If you are here,
Yay, someone's here.
I'll feel a lot more confident when it.
Well,
Right.
we can, yeah.
Oh look, people are here. People are writing things in the chat.
Yay!
We're here. We're here. Welcome everybody to our listening party. So I just want to say a little bit about why we're doing this, and then I'll ask the other guys to introduce themselves. We got locked down in different places. Clearly, Joe and Claire are in the same place, but we got locked down in different places. So while everybody was doing their kind of online concerts and things like that, we couldn't really do anything, and so we didn't quite know what to do. So we've hit upon this idea because we've seen other people do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the album, which we made in 2019. We're going to play that and listen to it all together, and you're going to listen to it with us. And then after each song, we're going to stop and we're going to tell you a little bit about that song and share a few stories and stuff like that. And if you've got any comments, you can type them in the YouTube chat as people are doing, and we can see them, and we can talk about them. So if you've got anything you want to ask us, keep it vaguely polite. But yeah, so I'm going to ask the other three to say who they are, what they do in the band, and a little bit more about themselves. So who's going to volunteer to go first? Claire.
I get it out of the way. So I'm Claire. In the band, I play fiddle, viola, a little bit of harmonium sometimes.
Trombone.
And trombone.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I nearly forgot. Yeah. And outside the band, I'm training to be a music therapist at UWE in Bristol. So that's me.
I'm Joe, and I mainly play harmonium in the band, but a bit of bass and a bit of banjo and some brass every now and then when it's required. And then outside the band, I perform with a few other groups and ensembles, and I also compose very new modern things that nobody likes to listen to.
And I'm Anita, and I sing in the band, and I also play the kalimba badly. And when I'm not doing this, I work for our local church, and I live in Bristol.
Most of you will know me, I think, but I'm Ant. I play guitar and sometimes harmonium and do a little bit of singing. And outside of this, I mostly work as a booking agent, but like most people who work in music, kind of lots of things. Joe Rich says he likes to listen to the music that you make.
I mean, I get the statistics from Bandcamp, and he most certainly doesn't.
Shall we listen to the first song? This is the first song on the album. I think this is going to work. I hope this is going to work. This is called The Blacksmith, and I was trying to think the other day about where this came from, because I can remember the origin of some of them, but I can't. When did we first play this? Can anybody remember?
So I think I heard a version, I think, of The Blacksmith, and then it was sort of just knocking around in my head for a little while, and then I kind of had this idea to take it into 5. So this one's in 5, where the normal version, the traditional version, would be in 4. So we kind of built this arrangement. We tried lots of different bits of instrumentation and lots of different sections, kind of giving different things to different people. And after a little while, we kind of settled on what we have here. And I think it's probably the best version of what it was at any point.
Let's have a listen to it and let us know what you think in the chat. We're mostly not going to talk over the top of the things. We might say little words here and there and nod at each other and stuff like that, but we're mostly just going to listen to the track and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Here we go. Fingers crossed.
A blacksmith courted me 9 months and better. He fairly won my heart, wrote me a letter. with his hammer in his hand. He looked quite clever, and if I was with my love, I'd live forever. But where is my love gone, with his cheeks like roses? He's gone across the sea, gathering primroses. I'm afraid the scorching sun will mar his beauty, and if I was with my love, I'd do my duty. Strange news has come to town, strange news is carried, strange news flies up and down, my love is married.
It's not open.
Well, I wish them both much joy, though they can't hear me. May God reward him well for the slighting of me.
I've tried to turn it up, Linda. Has that made any difference at all?
There's also an odd delay, Ant, coming from somewhere.
Not on the actual version, I don't think.
Don't
Let us know if there is on YouTube.
when you lay beside me.
I remember trying to do this clapping and it was really hard.
Marry me and not deny me. If I said I'd marry you, it was to try you. So bring your witness, love, and I'll not deny you.
I think it's okay.
No witness have I none, save
Joe's talking about
God
pocketing upwards.
Almighty.
Pocketing, yeah.
May He reward
I'd forgotten that word.
for the slighting of me. But her lips grew pale and wan, and her heart did tremble. You think she loved her one, and he proved deceitful.
I love that little slide into the chorus. Well, the tuney bit.
A blacksmith courted
Okay.
me 9 months and better. He fairly won my heart, wrote me a letter. With his hammer in his hand, he looked quite clever. And if I was with my love, I'd live forever.
There we go. So, that's
I
the
like
blacksmith.
David's Richard's comment about all songs should be in 5/4. I just remember being away from a practice and then coming back, and you were going to me, "Oh yeah, you're going to sing this one in 5/4."
It's quite a
And then you go,
process, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it really hard actually to play in 5/4, and I don't know why, but yeah. I'm not as talented as you guys probably, but I just found it really difficult. Not too bad because I'm on the harmonium on that. Joe, you play banjo on that, but it's a right-handed tenor banjo.
Yeah, it's a right-handed banjo and it's strung right-handed, and I am left-handed. So just sort of flip it upside down. Fortunately, I didn't play any banjo beforehand. So it's just, that is how I know to play the banjo, is upside down. So if I was now given a left-handed one, it wouldn't work at all.
No.
Yeah.
But it works well enough.
It's called learning on the job, guys.
Yeah. So I've got a question about how many string parts were on that one.
Oh, how many string parts?
How many string parts?
So
Who is CDR? Is that Chris? Make yourself known, CDR.
if you mean fiddle, then it's just one fiddle the whole way through. I don't think we added any extras, but then we've got the banjo.
There's a harmonium going on as well, which is a
Yeah.
sustained sound. So it kind of beefs it up a little bit.
Did we put bass on that one?
There is, yeah. There's a little bit of double bass on there as well. That Lucas Drinkwater, he added that in the production, which was quite nice because it just kind of fills out the low end a little bit.
Dave McCann spotted the merch. Yeah, we've got our hoodies and t-shirts up here, and also
Very
subliminal.
cheeky.
I've got also this one, and also if you look very carefully, it might be.
Ooh.
I've planned it all very carefully.
You're in
Ant
merch
is
city
running our
there.
merch desk today.
We've got tote bags as well, but I think I've run out.
You're not wearing one of those then?
We might have run out of tote bags, so
Ooh.
I don't know. But yeah, it's a bit of a con, this merch, really, isn't it? Because we don't really have very much of it. It's just all done to order, and we don't really see any money from it. But if you want a hoodie, crack on. It's it's better if you buy a CD, frankly. But if you buy a hoodie, that's lovely. Where is it at? Oh, it's on Dizzy Jam, isn't it? Oh, it's at the website. It's on the website anyway. Anything else about that song? Oh, Hocketing, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So in the second verse, if you're listening on headphones, if anyone is, you will have heard that it's kind of split between the banjo and pizzicato on the violin. And one will be over here and one will be over here. So basically what we did was this technique called hocketing, which is where you kind of take a tune and you split it into two parts and you spread it across two instruments. It was very popular in kind of medieval music. There's a good example in some of the most famous example is in Tchaikovsky's Six, where he takes the melody. So basically, the violins have one melody. Violin 1 has one melody. Violin 2 has another melody. But the way they kind of dovetail produces a third melody, which is sort of the actual. It's really, really clever.
It's the final movement, if anyone's interested in listening to it.
Ours is slightly less clever, so it doesn't quite dovetail. It just sort of dovetail. I've just been watching stuff Let's Splat, so I'm going to say lots of things wrong today. It doesn't quite dovetail. Basically, what happens is I play and then Claire plays, and maybe one note overlaps, but it produces that really nice effect. When it works, it's a really nice technique to use.
And I remember talking about this.
Play it right.
Yeah, remember it took a lot of time to get it right, didn't it? Because it's really tricky. But I remember in the practice going, they were explaining to me how this was going to work, and I was like looking confused. And I think you just sort of said, "Well, why don't you just do a drone on the harmonium?" That's fine.
I think the main reason we had it in there was because I was thinking at that point it would be really nice to have guitar playing that sort of thing, but obviously everyone was already spoken for in what instrument they were playing, and I'm not good enough at the banjo to play that whole thing, and it's really quick if you were just trying to pizzicato the whole thing. So by kind of splitting it up, I mean, one, it makes it manageable. Two, it's a sort of a nice different texture as well, which is good.
Generally the first song we play live as well, isn't it? It's been so long since we've played live, is it?
It's replaced Scarlet Ribbons as an opener, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Do Scarlet Ribbons at the start of the second half? I can't even remember now.
Yeah.
We actually did a gig, like this. Was it the Sunday before lockdown?
Yes.
Amazing! Like it was. That was at this. Where was that?
Square and Compass.
Square and Compass.
It was a lush gig.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue. Oh, it's. We should have put the laptop closer to, because everyone can see when a comment comes in, because me and Claire both go.
Nigel Roberts says, "Not being very musically intelligent, all this talk is like a foreign language." We're probably being a little bit technical, but the bottom line is I just love the songs. Thank you, Nigel.
Yes, but we're explaining why you love the song.
Shall we play another song? Let's do the next one. What is the next one? I can't remember.
Should be "I'll Weave My Love a Garland."
I'll Weave My Love a Garland. Right, here we go. It's quite long, this one, isn't it?
That's the blacksmith again.
It's not playing at the minute.
Yeah, it's coming.
We're getting the blacksmith here.
Are you?
Oh, I'm getting Garland.
Well, as long as people are hearing it right in the actual thing, you'll just have to live with it, Hamlins, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Oh, they're meshing over each other now. That's interesting.
It's like a remix thing. Like, it's fine. Sounds fine to me. I don't know why. Maybe mute it if it's horrible, but we're 31 people watching live, which is lovely.
Thanks, everyone.
It's more people than normally come to our gigs, to be fair.
definitely more people than were able to fit into the square and compass.
That's true.
Because my love loves me.
I love this fiddle here.
I wish I wore an arrow and sped into the air. I'd seek you like a sparrow.
This is mostly Joe's arranging here again, I think.
And if you are not there, quickly I become a fish
We'll get the second half.
and search the raging sea. For I love my love and I love my love because my love loves me.
Oh, lovely comments. Thank you. We'll answer that question in a bit, Phil.
I would I wore a reaper and seek you in the corn. I wish I were a keeper.
Just realised that blacksmith is in
Touch
swords.
you with my horn.
That is amazing.
Found at last under the greenwood tree. For I love my love and I love my love because my love loves me.
Anita's getting all the love in the comments.
Thank you, Harry. That's very kind of you.
Now we've got the start.
Oh no, boy.
I'm not sure if you're entirely in. Oh, really? I
Garland's just started.
think we're just going to have to go with this, guys.
That's fine.
We're listening to Garland. It's lovely. Just that nice bit of fiddle at the in the middle there. Beautiful.
Its green leaves would wither beneath the salty sea. But my love will still be true, holding fast to thee. For I love my love and I love my love because my love loves me.
I think the fiddle on this track, Claire, is you at your very best.
Oh, thank you.
There's some really good questions I've come back to.
A lot of light and shade in this song.
Thanks, Chris.
Must be quite disconcerting for you, Joe and Claire. People writing comments about something that's entirely different to what you're listening to.
Well, we can hear both at the same time.
Yeah.
So when
Okay.
Blacksmith
Interesting.
stopped, Garland started,
Mm.
and there was like a bit of Anita singing, and then Anita singing, and it just been like
Yeah.
it's like a little remix. So
I've no
we've got a
idea
treat.
why.
Bit of canon there.
Yeah.
There's people saying as well that some people are getting the talking through loud and the music quite quiet. Other people, I've just had a text to say that other people, the music's very loud and the talking's quite quiet. I don't think there's very much we can do about it. So just have your volume control in your hands. I think that's probably the thing that we need to do. So let's do some of those questions, shall we? So yeah, lots of love for the fiddle and the vocals. It's fine, Joe. We're fine, aren't we? We're
This is what happened in reviews as well. So every review, the other day I went back and read a few, and it would usually start with, at the center of the band's sound is Anita Dobson with her amazing singing, and then there was some beautiful fiddle playing from Claire Hamlin, and then I don't know, some couple of other twats were there as well.
You're feeling a bit sore about that, aren't you?
a little bit.
it was a bit like that.
Girl
wasn't
power.
it? Yeah.
So
We're not fishing for compliments, though, are we?
the first one.
Tight.
If it comes through now and people are like, yeah, the harmonium and the guitar are great too. It's just empty words now. Empty words.
So Phil's asked, did we produce ourselves? And so no, we had the always excellent Lucas Drinkwater at what's the studio? Polyphonic.
Yeah.
I could remember his old name, but not his new name. Who is fantastic. So he's done loads of stuff. He's done, and you probably can remember better than I can the names of people he's worked with. But...
Oh, I mean, it's a who's who of sort of English folk roots and acoustic music. He's worked with so many people, and he's a joy to work with, isn't he? As well, I'm sure you'll echo. I don't know if he's watching. I think he was planning to, but thanks, Rich. Those in the chat can see that for themselves. But yeah, it's such a relaxed environment in that studio, and he's a joy to work with. I don't think he's here.
The Bengal spice tea was quite an experience as well.
He's moved now. He's moved to a different actual space, so I guess we'll find out when we record the next thing what it's like, how it compares. But Fiona says, "Is Fishing for Compliments the next album?" That's not a bad name.
Good title.
We could go with that. We could go with
on your lap.
You wouldn't believe how long it took us to choose an album title, so we'll stock that one for next time.
Yeah. Phil also says, "Keys, do you choose for Anita's range?" Do we? I don't know if we do.
I think we're influenced by it, but we like to give Anita a challenge, don't we?
Yeah.
I think they see a look of panic coming across my face, and of course, if I'm writing, then I write for my range because I do that naturally. So that's when it's easiest, is when I'm writing a song, because then I definitely know it's going to be right for me.
Yeah, that one we did used to do. We had an old version of that one, which was it was fairly sort of straight ahead, kind of.
Was that pre-me?
Yes, that was before you joined.
Was it really?
That was in a different key to what we ended up in there. So yeah, we do sort of move things around and adjust, because obviously we want to make the most of Anita's voice, and we don't want to be kind of forcing her to sing something uncomfortable, really.
Unless it's
and
in
it
5/4.
doesn't really make a difference to the rest of us. We can sort of switch things around much easier.
Joe is in the comments. Joe used to be in the band.
Hi, Joe.
I didn't realise that was Joe. Hi, Joe.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, and Joe says, so before we did this album, we'll wave it anyway. I found one yesterday. We did an EP a few years ago, and Joe is on this EP and Claire is not. And we had a bit of a lineup change. But Joe says, I don't think I've heard this before with the slower fiddle instrumental. I love the contrast it provides. Oh, thanks, Joe. And it's really nice to see you here too.
Yeah.
You can still get the EP on Bandcamp, probably not the physical EP, but you can still get the download. But with the greatest of respect to all of us that played on it, including Joe, probably don't, because it's not that good, frankly. It's a band trying to find their sound. Shall we say that? Is that all right?
There we go. It used to be an A, and I think in that one we ended up in F sharp.
F sharp, yeah, definitely F sharp.
Which, just a bit of trivia there, because we were hearing the Blacksmith and Garland at the same time. Blacksmith's in C, Garland's in F sharp. That's as far apart in harmonic terms as you can possibly be.
It's
So
in E.
it's in E. It's not in E. Is it?
No, it's in
Yeah.
F sharp, isn't it?
It's in F sharp.
Open A, open E on the fiddle.
No. Well, never mind. Whole
So
day's
that
ruined.
fact,
Go
as
home,
well as
everyone.
being
Moving on.
that fact, as well as being insanely boring, is also wrong.
Anyway,
Shall we put? I think that's my favourite song to play live. I'm just going to put that out there. I think
I really
enjoyed
enjoyed. Yeah, I really enjoyed how we came up with it as well. I think Joe was that the weekend away that we had with Joe there as well.
Near West.
Yes.
Near Western, yeah. And we were just improvising together and just playing around with some stuff, and then it just kind of revealed itself to us, and we just started playing, and it was just like, oh great, this done. Track
And-
is done.
And also, that was the time that I had my epiphany. So I'd been really struggling with damping, like damp strumming. You know what I mean? Do you remember? And then I was just like, what, that afternoon in Western, I was like, oh, I'm doing it, and it just sort of happened. And so it
I
went
love
into
those
that
moments.
song as well.
I
Playing
can-
that live, I switch between finger picking and damp strumming, but I can't damp strum without a pick, and so I have a pick like just kept precariously balanced on top of my guitar so that I can quickly grab it and start strumming. It's quite scary, actually.
So professional.
Yeah. Sorry, Anita, what were you going to say?
No, so I was going to say that we had that amazing time improvising in that song, and we thought we got it ready. And then about a month later, we thought, oh, let's put it into a gig. And we realised suddenly, oh, hang on, we can't remember it. Do you remember we were all listening to it on the phone
Kristen.
around the back?
Backstage, listening to it on my iPhone, going, "How's
It wasn't a good idea, was it? we then did it on stage, and it wasn't great. So thankfully, we've refined it a lot since then.
We're sounding brilliant.
Not practice.
People are going to love to come and see us now.
Yeah,
Right.
sorry, we're putting everybody off now.
Rich says Ant's Epiphany wouldn't be a terrible album name either. No, I'll put it in the hat. Shall we listen to another song?
Yeah.
Let's stick on the next track. This is one of Anita's originals. So shall we listen to it and then you can tell us the story afterwards? Do you think this is perhaps the most arranged thing that we do? I don't know. It's quite a complex arrangement in places, isn't it?
Yeah, it took a long time to write it, didn't it?
Well, we'll stick it on. Goodness knows what Joe and Claire are going to hear, but let's see what happens.
We're going to mute and listen to it on Bandcamp.
Good idea. I love this beginning, actually, the moody beginning. Now Joe and Claire can't hear us. That's fun. This nearly got lost, didn't it? Do you remember? We had to dig back through Lucas's old files. We'll talk about it afterwards.
My brother and I were thrown on the parish. We set out to work from before we were grown. My mother, she died. My father was broken. I scarcely remember the mother I'd known. Save a white gown blowing in the breeze. My brother and I
Was this the one we did in the van with no instruments?
Yeah, when we're in a traffic jam. Yeah, we'll have to tell them about that.
My master and lady, so fine was their income. With mountains of linen, they set me to boy.
Anybody else getting an echo? I'm not.
I am.
My brother, he toiled, he fetched and he carried.
I don't know why that would be.
To serve from morning
I haven't changed anything.
My master
I was getting it before.
they had 7 children who all needed clothing so clean and so bright. With a white gown
Don't know why, guys. Sorry.
with a white gown drying in the breeze.
Is it horribly distracting, or can we live with it?
My brother and I, we yearn for our freedom. Impatiently we
It's coming from me. I've promised not to touch anything, so Chris will have to come and rescue me.
Leave it till after the track, and we'll see if we can. Sounds like Chris says he sounds like it was produced by Brian Eno. I don't know where that's coming from.
My brother was stopped on his way through the parish, was found with some linen held under his cloak. My brother, he pleaded, don't send for the master. My sister and I will be hanged by the rope, with the white sheets lying in the mud, with the white sheets lying in the mud. My master and lady went straight to the parish, and guilty they found us, no mercy was shown. My brother and I were sent on the same ship for New South Wales. We were sentenced to go with the
Thanks, Jane.
white sails blowing
Accidentally good.
in the breeze. My brother, he cried, oh, I wish
Oh, it took me so long to be able to play that.
and bided our time
Ding,
till our
ding, ding.
fortune
We do practicing
arrived.
that.
My brother, I cried, we gambled our future, we risked our for freedom, thank God we're alive, with the white sails blowing in the breeze, with the white sails blowing in the breeze. My brother and I, on land we were parted. I knew not his fate, whether he lived or died. But sometimes I hear him down by the water, a glimpse of his face in the corner of my eye, with his white shirt blowing in the breeze. My mother
Talk about
and father were safe
Joe can't hear me, but we need to talk about that bit.
and all
The chicka chicka chick bit.
sorrows that soon came to pass. I wonder if we shall all meet in heaven, united across oceans in freedom at last. All our white gowns flowing in the breeze, all our white gowns flowing in the breeze.
And how Anita had to learn to count to do that bit. Wow. Loads to talk about there. Are you back with us, Joe and Claire? Yes, excellent.
We are, yes.
There's so much to talk about with this track. I don't know why some people were getting an echo. Was it doing it on the songs before, or was it just that one? Because I can't see how you listening to it on Bandcamp could be causing it, but maybe it is.
Our microphone was muted and we were listening on the phone. So
Well, anyway.
there's no way.
Anyway, it is what it is.
But I'm not going to touch anything because I'm too low tech to touch anything.
I've also been told that it was me that was too loud, but I've moved my microphone further away. Is that better? I don't know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Is that okay? Fine. Anyway, so Anita, why don't you tell us about the song first?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you delve into your family tree and you share it with your children, be careful because you don't know what they're going to do with it. Because this was me delving into to the family tree that my dad wrote for me, and finding out, skeletons in the family cupboard about ancestors of ours who were deported for stealing linen, it said. So I just saw that in the stories that he'd written about the family and thought, wow, that's really interesting. It's also shocking, isn't it, that people were deported to Australia for stealing linen and being transported. So I just wove a story about, based on the details that we had, but embellishing it, and just really enjoyed that opportunity to write a new folk song, in the old style, I suppose.
So the next album's going to be all Anita's big family secrets, just exposed.
Just skeletons tumbling out of the cupboard. The most wonderful compliment I ever got was during the tour. Somebody said that they thought it was where did that folk song come from? They didn't know it was something that we'd written.
I had that.
We do say so. Clearly, they hadn't been listening during the show.
No, true. But I took the compliment. I still took it. So it obviously sounds like an old folk song, even though it was fresh off the press.
Was that the one with coffee beans on it?
Was it?
Again?
Like
Coffee
cocoa beans. We dropped.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
they
shells. Yeah,
Shells.
there's some shells that Lucas is. So Lucas has in his studio a lot of small kind of percussion kind of toys. Basically, it's just sort of bits and pieces that he uses because he likes to. He's quite creative in the way he sort of mixes and builds soundscapes and things. So yeah, it was just a little bag that had some quite hard shells in, and so it was just in the last verse on the. Just on the end, where it sort of sounds like it is a snare. It's the bag of shells being dropped onto the snare, and it creates that really nice sort of sound. I really like it.
I do too. Yeah, we can't do it we could do it live. We could take a snare and try and drop it in exactly the right place. Probably not going to work.
We need another person. That's the thing.
So applications open if you just want to come and just play dropping shells onto the snare.
Well, I think with this song, "Is So Thin on the Ground," you play two instruments at the same time, don't you?
I do, yes. I have to.
Live.
So in this one, I'm primarily banjo, but live I do. So the snare in the second verse, where it's doing the that sort of rhythm, that's me as well, and I do that on the harmonium, and it creates a reasonable sort of brushes on top of the harmonium kind of works, and then back onto the banjo. And then onto actually playing the harmonium as a harmonium, and then back onto the banjo again. Because it's the slight trouble that we've had a little bit is sort of earlier on, we used to kind of switch instruments a lot and bring in loads of extra instruments. So we had kind of dulcimers and lots of other stuff in there as well.
We had piano for a while.
There was piano, yeah, as well. And it sort of gets to the point with that where it gets a bit silly, where you sort of, you've got to carry all this stuff around. But also, my opinion is that kind of having an instrument on stage, if it's pretty much, if it's very, very similar to instruments that are already being used, and you've got another one on for one song, such as a dulcimer, it looks a little bit, I don't know, I just sort of never liked how it looked. So we've really kind of tried to be a bit stricter in maintaining, I think the core is sort of guitar, harmonium, fiddle and vocals, and then sort of small variations in there. So if we want to use the banjo for a slightly different texture, or the bass occasionally, or Claire will switch from violin to viola, then that's something that's quite nice to do. But generally we try and keep it as that. But it did mean that when we went into the studio, we were able to maybe expand a little bit and put in some extra stuff and have Lucas add some extra things in there as well, it was really nice to be a little bit more kind of free with it.
Yeah, Joe's just commented about the venue with the tiny stage. So
down by Ashton
our
Gate,
first
isn't it?
gig
Yes.
in El Rincon.
El Rincon, yeah.
The tiniest stage in the world. And you were on this like little side seat with the piano and just like perched right on the side.
Yeah, had the piano like I was playing the piano facing forwards, but like with my arms sideways like this.
Yeah.
I wasn't even on the stage. I was in the doorway.
Joe was standing on a window shelf or something, weren't you?
Quite probably.
On a ledge.
I think this is a stage that's probably designed for 2, maybe 3 people at best, and we crammed 5 of us on there with about probably
Joe
at
was
least
there as
10
well,
instruments. I think.
Yeah, that may well have been the breaking point instrument wise. I I'd just like to let everyone know as well, the little clapping emoji you're doing comes through on the app we're broadcasting from as wash hands.
It does.
So that's
Yes.
why it's
Yes,
saying
it
wash hands, wash hands. We've all been reading it going, why are
Wash
they
hands.
all...
Yeah.
So
I didn't know
and
what it
that's not clapping, that's
They're
washing
being
hands,
very
people.
COVID safe, Joe.
Yeah.
was.
There we go. We need to talk about the experience in the van with this song.
Oh yeah.
So our tour was beautifully routed. I need to say that to start with, and I don't know whether Joe is here watching with us, our agent Joe Elkington, who did a wonderful job. But we did have one fairly long drive where we drove from Durham to Leamington Spa. Is that right?
Yes, but it was via the Yorkshire Dales.
Via the Yorkshire Dales for various reasons.
So
But
it might not have been too bad otherwise.
but we also got stuck in traffic for like didn't move on the motorway for probably an hour. Do you remember?
Mm.
And so we decided to kill some time. I'm not going to say how. You can say how.
We killed some time by singing some of our tracks, a cappella.
Acapella. Yeah.
Bit of beatboxing. So we did the white gown, which seemed like a good idea until you actually start doing all of those sounds. So there was Joe going, and Claire on the opening violin, and then they expect me to just keep a straight face and keep singing.
So we weren't just singing it a cappella, as in we were all adding layers of harmony. We were singing the sounds that our instrument
Yeah,
made.
we were beatboxing.
The harmonium was interesting.
So yeah, I was crying with laughter and then finding to carry on with that. I don't know what the other people in the cars around us thought of us, but that was a lot of fun.
Well, they didn't give us a round of applause, so I don't think they thought very much of it, to be honest.
We couldn't really play Yellow Car at the time either, could we? Because of
Yellow Car. So on our tour, we spent quite a lot of the time playing Yellow Car. Does anybody play Yellow Car? Let us know in the comments if you play Yellow Car. So the basics of the game is that you get a point every time you see a yellow car. But we invented, I mean, we're not going to go into it now, but just like the most ridiculously complex rules for this game. Did I win? I think I won.
I think you probably did win.
Oh, I don't know. That's not how I remember it.
I don't.
Anyway, I was terrible at it because I've got very slow reactions. So I invented a new rule that if you saw a house on the motorway, as in, one of those mobile homes that's being towed on a lorry, if you saw one of those, you could shout full house and everybody else's scores had to go back to 0. Was that right?
Yeah.
And we all went, yeah, because you very rarely see those houses moving along the motorway. So, that's a good idea because it'd be so rare that it just wouldn't happen. And then about an hour later, we saw one and I was so excited that everybody else was going to go back to 0. And then we remember the other rule that we'd already invented, which was that this only counted if it was on a motorway. So we didn't play this game when we were not on the motorway because it wasn't fair on having to navigate and so on. So yeah, I was
definitely winning at that point.
From joy to despair in about 5 seconds. It was quite funny. I
was definitely winning at that point because I remember you all celebrating that I'd lost these mountain of points that I'd piled up, and then I said, "But we're not on the motorway." Yay! So there we go. That not guitar, violin part at the start, Claire. That sort of intro to that. I don't know how you describe it really, but I remember when we got the first mix back of the album from Lucas, and it wasn't there. Can you remember?
Yes.
And I went back to him and he's like, "Oh, I wonder where that's gone." Fortunately, he found it, but we thought we might have to put the album out without that on it, which would have been a shame. But he found it, and I think it really does add something.
Yeah, it was quite tricky to record because you're double stopping. Well, I was double stopping, so playing 2 strings at the same time because it resonates differently in the violin than doing two separate recordings and splicing them together. Yeah. So to get that in tune and the bow on both the strings at the same time, then string crossing of the other strings was just a bit of a nightmare. It took ages to record, so I was like, yeah!
Please find it. It needs to be on there. Please find it. There's some good car games being suggested in the comments, guys. Snooker, car snooker, that sounds fun. What's pub cricket on A roads? Oh, let us know, Fiona, what that is, because next time we go on tour, we need these.
Wait till there's no cars, and away you go. Sorted.
What, just have a game of cricket on the A road?
Yeah, on an A road, yeah.
Right. With a beer, presumably, if it's pub cricket. That sounds all right, actually. Yeah. Let's just do that instead of going on tour. That sounds fun. I remember I was desperate for the loo for most of that journey as well.
Yeah, it was not comfortable for you.
Most of the tour, I think. Yeah.
I did all the driving. Come on. That was a lot of miles.
A lot of miles.
I'm just going to say now there are 41 screens watching, which is absolutely brilliant.
Amazing.
And thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, it's free to be here. We do have a PayPal thing, which is paypal.me/roadnottaken. We've not been able to do any concerts, so if you want to throw a few quid in there, then absolutely be our guest. But there's no pressure, absolutely no pressure. What you can do, if you haven't already, is you can go onto Bandcamp, or there's a link on our website, which is roadnottaken.co.uk, and you can get a copy of this and you can listen to it without the weird echo in the way that it's supposed to be. So you can do that. Let's listen to the next song, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh,
After this, maybe we should talk about the album cover.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah.
Later, yeah.
Here we go. Pub cricket sounds great, by the way, in the comments.
Thank you, yeah.
This is probably the song we've been doing longest, you reckon?
My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. And fair art thou, my bonny lad, how deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till
Is there an echo now?
all the seas run
No, I don't think so.
Weird.
till all the seas run dry.
Love that violin there.
And the rocks melt with the sun. And I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well.
So only time we ever get to sing in unison, isn't it, Ants?
I will come
Well, it's a harmony, but
again,
at the same time, yeah.
though it were 10,000 miles.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Oh, I got a comment. Write it in a review. That's lovely, that bit, Claire. She can't hear me. I said, that's lovely, that bit is, Claire. The instrumental verse, beautiful.
We've still got Blacksmith in our ears. So I can't. Why that is.
Though it were 10,000 miles, my love, though it were
Thanks, Linda.
10,000 miles, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles, and fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well.
Thank you, Paul.
And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles.
Thanks, Chris.
That was the first song you and I played together, wasn't it? When we were thinking about
I think it was.
forming a band, or
I think
even
it
before
was.
we were thinking about forming a band, really.
Yeah, I
Or
think
when
it
we were
was.
just trying to think of playing something as
It's-
a support for Dan and Folk Club's first gig, wasn't it?
I think yes. I think that was me, you, and the other Joe, wasn't it? That gig. I think that and Hares on the Mountain, which we'll listen to next, are they're probably the only two songs that we've played in pretty much every gig that we've ever done. I reckon they were certainly in the first gig that we ever did, and they're still in the set now. It was, I mean, looking back, that first probably not very good, but you know, we've found it a long time. Lots of nice things about the guitar playing in that one, which I'll take. It does sound nice. It actually is one of the easier things that we play. Like, I don't find that like it's fine. I have to play stuff that's a lot. Joe makes me play stuff that's a lot harder, but I agree that it does sound nice on there. I'm happy with that.
Thanks, Gav.
Oh, Gav's here. Hello, Gav. Yeah. So we've been playing a long time, and Linda, I think it was Linda, said about something about giving it something fresh, which is hard to do with something that's so well known. Which is really, it is. Yeah, it's probably one of the most well known songs that we do, and I still enjoy playing it. There we go. Anita, you said you wanted to talk about the album cover.
Oh yeah. Well, when you held it up again, it just reminded me, because we passed it today, the garage where Chris took the photographs. So the photo for the album cover was taken by my husband, Chris Dobson. Those of you who don't know, he's a very accomplished photographer. And we wanted somewhere a bit kind of grimy and grungy, didn't we? But we just were struggling to find the dilapidated place that we all had in our minds. We just couldn't find anywhere.
We've got the chair, haven't we, by that point?
We were getting a bit desperate, yeah. And then I just realised that I'd been walking past this dilapidated old garage every day for the last few months. You know, maybe this would be a possibility. And so I had to knock on the door of the house and say, you know, your falling down garage, would you let us take some photographs in there? And thankfully, it turned out to be somebody who just bought the house and who hadn't yet moved in and hadn't yet done it up. So I didn't feel that I was going to be offending them too much by pointing out how terrible their garage was. Anyway, so we brought a few bits of furniture and sort of posed things in there, and had a really fun half hour getting photographs taken.
We had to lay the garage door down over the floor because half the floor was missing, wasn't it? Like, it was just
there was like a pit for mechanics, you know, car mechanics to lie under. So yeah, it was all a bit it was a bit dangerous, really.
I'm not sure if we'd done a risk assessment, we'd have been allowed to do it, really. But
but I really like the fact that we're all in the mirror, you know, just hiding in the mirror.
Yeah, we couldn't decide. We couldn't decide whether we should be on the album cover or not. So we decided to sort of be on it. I think that was the idea. And the idea of that picture, it's a smashed picture or a smashed mirror, and that was where part of the idea for like the fragments came from. Paul says, could you say more on how you formed? Others may know, but newish to you. That's a good question. Well, I'll kick off because it was sort of, I guess, my idea. I'd been playing in a band with Anita, sort of in a church setting, and thought, and I remember Chris saying to me, "Oh, it'd be lovely to do something." Chris, Anita's husband. So me, Joe, Bryden, and Anita used to play in church together sometimes, and then I'd started down in Folk Club, which is the club that I run down here in Bristol, and we'd done a few gigs, and I thought it'd be nice to do a thing, to do a support slot. So I just sort of booked us in for one without really thinking too much about it, and made up a name on my own, which probably would choose something different now if I'm completely honest, but we're stuck with it. And so we got together, and then I thought it'd be nice to have, like, at the time my thought was double bass and violin, and I knew that Joe played a little bit of bass and Claire played violin, so I asked them to join the group, and they said yes. And but they couldn't make that first gig, so we were officially a 5-piece to begin with, but we did the first gig as a 3, and then you did the next one with us. Is that right?
I think I joined at that point. Claire joined a little bit later.
Yeah, my first gig was Evesham.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It seems a long time ago now, but it was just to do some playing together. We didn't have any great aspirations for it. We just thought we'd get together and play some music, and it's probably gone on longer and exceeded certainly my expectations. It was kind of a hobby at first. I never thought we'd actually be able to do a tour of the country and make proper albums and stuff like that. And it's really nice to have been do that. Rich Toller says it's a good name. Yeah, maybe. It's not very good for Google searches because you just get the Robert Frost poem.
Well, we
which
do
are
share it with a metal band, don't we?
Well, we share it with a lot of bands, but primarily we used to get messages for a German metal band. Yeah,
That's right.
and get tagged into things.
We had this thing on tour where Joe would describe the genre of this band differently each night, and I had to react to it.
They were ridiculous.
They were just death metal, but if you're a metal fan, you'll know that there's so many subgenres, and you can basically put any word in front of metal, and it's fine. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. That took up a lot of my day, to be honest, just considering what word to say.
Yeah, and I had to keep a straight face when Joe said something utterly outrageous as this
and failed
genre.
every time. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you for the cake, Lucy.
Ooh,
Oh, Lucy's
wonderful.
here.
Thank you very much.
I hope it's vegan. If it's not, I will kick off.
Lucy
I
runs.
won't. I'll just eat more.
Lucy runs the Folk Forecast, who've been doing listings of online folk stuff since the start of lockdown. And if you haven't found it, then it's a great place to go and see everything that's going on. And I can also probably just sort of semi-reveal that Lucy's joined the Fan Court Music team as well, which is very, very exciting. Anyway, welcome, Lucy. Thanks for tuning in. I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was. No. Anyway.
Oh, folk metal very much exists, Gav. Just Google it. It's good.
There's pirate metal as well, which is
There's pirate
Pirate
metal.
metal.
There's
Ooh.
caveman metal.
What about pirate dinosaur metal?
I'm sure it
certainly.
exists.
I reckon that like a Tyrannosaurus Rex could only play the kalimba. They wouldn't be able to play.
They wouldn't be able to reach it.
Kalimba would be good, yeah.
Maybe with some long sticks.
Oh, what I was going to say was that I've had this trouble with this German metal band again, because I finally set up our bands in town so that it links to the website and all our gigs are listed. And when I went on there, they've already got the name Road Not Taken. That's fine. I've set us up as Road Not Taken UK. That's not a problem. But all our gigs were registered to their profile, and all, like, there were loads of people who were following them who thought they were following us because it said followers of this band also follow like Gilmour and Roberts and like other English folk acts. And I was like, they've got all our followers, and so I've messaged them and said, can we do something about this? And they have stoically ignored me. So probably never. Pirate metal, Chris. Apparently, who knew?
Is Ailstorm pirate metal?
Yeah, but that's Chris. Chris knows about pirate metal.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, Ailstorm.
Let's do the next song. This is probably the thing that we've been playing the second longest. So we're going to listen to Hares on the Mountain, which has a tune attached to the end of it as well. Here we go.
Oh, Sally, my dear, it's you I be kissing. Oh, Sally, my dear, it's you I be kissing. She smiled and replied, you don't know what you're missing.
Bit of kalimba there.
Oh, Sally, my dear, I wish I could wed you. Oh, Sally, my dear.
Sounds interesting, Fiona.
I wish I could wed you. She smiled and replied, then you'd say I miss you.
I'll read that one out afterwards.
Before the young men were hares on the mountain. Before the young men were hares on the mountain. How many young girls would take guns and go hunting?
I love that sort of melodic thing emerging out of the dissonant thing. I think it's beautiful. Oh, we sing in unison here,
Sang
Anita.
like blackbirds and thrushes. If all the young men sang like blackbirds and thrushes, how many young girls would go shaking in the bushes? If all the young men were fish in the water, if all the young men were fish in the water, how many young girls would undress and dive under? But young men are given to frisking and fooling.
I don't know if my dad's still watching, but this is the bit he doesn't like. We'll talk about that later.
To frisking and fooling. I'll leave them alone and attend to my schooling.
Thank you, Chris. What's it called? Devlin's Favourite, is it? I love those melodies against each other as well.
Cornish pirate music.
Those little ornamentals in there, Claire, are just lovely.
So fun to play.
It's another one where Claire gets to really let loose a little bit, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I always want to play that faster in gigs as well. I have to.
I know you do.
you have to
I
rein me
remember.
in a bit.
Been there a couple of times.
Come on.
Oh, great to see Rosie here as well. Thank you. Chris says it's his favourite. Chris Jones says both of your voices complement each other perfectly and such a nice sound. Thank you very much. I've always enjoyed singing with Anita. I've got to be honest, it's always been nice to sing together, so that's lovely. So shall I do the story about this song?
Try and tell it in a slightly different way to the way
I know.
we've
I'm trying to think of a way.
times.
I know, but I'm trying to think of a way to do it in a different way. I'm not sure there is one. I'll do it quickly. Is that better? So
That'll do, yeah.
when we did this song first, my dad is a retired music teacher, and we think that the dissonant, is dissonant the right word, Joe? Probably the discordant bit in the middle. We think it's quite clever and quite interesting, but my dad really didn't like it. And after every gig, he is watching. My mum's just texted me to say he's watching. He'd just go, I don't like that bit. I don't like it where it goes all a bit weird. So that's why we stuck a tune on the end. It fits really well. It's called Devlin's Favourite. Is it? I think it's an Irish melody, isn't it?
I think so.
Sure. Yeah. So we stuck this tune on the end in the hope that it would be such a nice tune, and it is a gorgeous tune, that by the time we got to the end of it, my dad would have forgotten the discordant bit and he'd just enjoy the nice tune. So that's part of the reason, genuinely part of the reason why there's a tune on the end. But in the studio, if you listen very carefully, you need to probably buy the album for this. But in that thing, buried quite deep in the mix, but it is discernible, you can make out me. We decided to put it as sort of very echoey, buried deep in the mix. You can hear me going, "How do you like that then, Dad?" So that's on the album. That's a little Easter egg for anybody that wants to listen back during that.
We had a lot of fun in the studio for this one, didn't we? There was like bows on cymbals, there were doors creaking, there was collegno on the violin, which is where you play with the wood of the bow instead of the hair. So there's that sort of sound at the beginning. Yeah, lots of different techniques.
We properly went for it in the middle of that bit.
Yeah. I think Lucas had to rein us in a bit there. 'Cause I think we wanted to go
inside
like
the piano or
wow.
something and start rattling around inside the piano.
We hit piano strings with a hammer, did we?
No, it wouldn't have been a hammer.
Well, a mallet.
Drumsticks, maybe.
No, a mallet. I think we hit it with a rubber mallet, didn't we?
Don't know.
I can't remember. We did lots
Joe Bryan, yeah, we are in different houses. But we did paint our walls specially, yeah.
I didn't get the memo. Sorry.
You didn't get the memo about the blue walls, did you? No.
We should say some of those. So those last two songs, in being the ones that we sort of played for the longest, the violin melodies are Joe Bryden's creations. It's ones that Joe used to play on the harmonica. They're really nice sound. And just as I like both of them equally, but it's interesting how just a change of instrument gives such a different kind of tone to it. But yeah, so Joe wrote those. We should credit where credit's due, and then I think Claire expanded on them a little bit.
Yeah, a smidge, but they were lovely. So
I think it was slide guitar on "My Love Is Like a Red Red Rose," wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Slide, and then harmonica on that one. Yeah, Joe's played a really important part in the formation of particularly those two songs, but some of the others as well. So it's lovely that they're here. Thank you for joining us, Joe. Yeah. We've been going an hour and 7 minutes already. We probably ought to rattle through another song. Shall we do another song?
Yeah, let's go for it.
It's a short one as well. This is 3.5 minutes of William Taylor. Here we go. It's got kalimba in it. That's faster
I'm now
than you
picturing a little Tyrannosaurus Rex doing that.
William Taylor was a brisk young sailor.
Ooh, lots of echo on this one.
Oh, I'm not getting any.
Bells were ringing and sailors singing, as to church they did repair. 30 couples were at the wedding, all dressed up in rich array. Instead of William getting married, he was brisked and sent to sea.
You all get to do really interesting things on this song, and I get to do the most simple guitar post in the part in the world.
Man's apparel she put on. She has gone
Sounds like your family is still not completely convinced.
No, I don't think so.
To find him she has gone. Then the captain stepped up to her, asking her what brings you here. So I come to seek my true love, one I lately loved so dear. If you've come to seek your true love,
Oh, Claire sings on this one.
his name may be.
Hammond vocals.
His name is William Taylor from the Irish.
Does happen sometimes.
Oh, thanks, Chris. It's very, very simple. It's four. It's three notes.
One of your favourites to play, isn't it?
I have to make sure that my face doesn't betray that I'm a bit bored when we're playing live. It does change a bit there. It gets slightly more complicated there. Oh, remind me to talk about the piano on this.
She rose early in the morning. She rose up at break of day. There she saw her true love William walking with a lady gay.
As Rich says, the guitar is just right on this one, as in I don't play it very much. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sword and pistol,
It's quite hard to decide when to not add in too much, I guess. Yeah.
She that shot her
3 notes and the truth.
with the bride on his right arm. If young folks from Wells or Bristol served themselves as she served he, all the young girls would be undone, very scarce young men would be.
There we go. That was William Taylor. It's what is it you always call it in gigs, Anita?
Billy T.
No. There's a phrase that you
Oh,
always use.
girl power on the high seas.
Mm.
There's a line in that where it says, is it Wells? Or, what's the line?
If young folks from Wells or Bristol served themselves as she served he,
So we
all the young men would be undone for all the girls would be undone for very scarce young men would be.
So we challenged Anita on tour to replace the word Bristol with the name of the town that we were performing in, which was fine for like Chester. That was okay, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Leamington Spa, Royal Leamington Spa was a bit more of a challenge, I think. I don't know what to say about this song really.
You said the piano. You wanted to talk about the piano.
Oh, the piano. Yeah, I'm gonna unleash some unknown angst onto the rest of the band. So Claire wanted a credit on the album sleeve for playing. Was it one note on the trombone, Claire? I think it was.
Yeah, which one was that for?
I think it was on Queen and the Soldier.
it's
We haven't got there yet.
yes.
That's the next one we're going to listen to. And Joe wanted us credit for playing trumpet, quite right, and all these sorts of things. Now, there's somebody in the band who's primarily a pianist, right? There's somebody in the band whose main instrument is a pianist. And I arrived at the studio the next time I was there to find that they'd done a piano part for this song, which I didn't even know was going to happen, and they hadn't asked me to do it. Somebody else had done it. Outrageous.
Was it you or Lucas?
That was me, yeah.
Yeah.
You had to leave. That was the problem.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's your own
Well, yeah, it's my fault. There we go. There's not an
There's
awful.
the total Simon Cowell.
It's all about the credit.
Joe says, "Is this the Martin?" It is. I think it's the Martin. I think it's my Martin on all of them, isn't it? I can't remember.
It was after you bought the guitar, yeah.
Yeah, it must have been the Martin then.
I think I wanted the credit so bad, Rich, is because we've got a professional brass player here, and he couldn't play the very low note on the trombone.
right.
Complete novice could do it. So.
That's right. We're going to listen to that track now, actually. So let's do that. Joe, you've got some things to say about this. Do you want to say a bit about? Because I think we did this first in our first gig, Anita, but nothing like this.
Yeah, I can't remember whether probably not the first gig, but quite early on.
Quite early on, but Joe transformed it into something that's quite different from the original. So this is a version, our take on Suzanne Vega's Queen and the Soldier. It's quite long. It's nearly 6 minutes, so I hope you won't get loads of echo. But it's the last song we're doing like this. There's one more to come after this, but it's the last song we're doing like this. So fingers crossed. Here we go. That's Claire singing at the start of that as well.
And her twin, who's slightly behind her.
Oh, have we got an echo again? I don't know why.
Don't worry.
Soldier came knocking upon the Queen's door. He said, I am not fighting for you anymore. The Queen knew she'd seen his face someplace before, and slowly she let him inside. He said, I've watched your palace up here on the hill, and I wondered who's the woman for whom we are killed. But I am leaving tomorrow, and you can do what you will. Only first I am asking you why.
Oh, I know who CDR is.
Down the long narrow
Now it becomes clear.
he was led into a room with a tapestry as red.
It's not Chris
She
Dobson.
never once took the crown from her head, and she asked him there to sit down. He said, I see you now, and you are so very
I can't do anything about it, Joe.
but I've seen
Sorry.
more battles lost than I have battles won. And I've got this intuition that says it's all for your fun. And now will you tell me why? The young queen, she
If I stop it, the echo's bad. What do you think, guys?
She said you won't understand, and you may as well not try.
I'm going to try a thing. Just bear with me. We'll see if this makes any difference. I don't think it will. It might start at the beginning again, but I can fix that.
Says it's all for your fun.
Has that dealt with the echo at all?
Tell me why.
A much quicker echo, so it's not really.
The young queen, she fixed him with an arrogant eye. She said you won't understand, and you may as well not try. But her face was a child, and he thought
Yes, Joe.
she would cry. But she closed herself up like a fan. She said, I swallowed the secret burning thread that cuts me inside, and often I bled. He laid his hand down on the top of her head, and he bowed her down to the ground. Tell me, how hungry are you? How weak you must feel, as you are living here alone, and you never revealed. But I won't march again on your battlefield. And he took her to the window to see, and the sun, it was gold, oh, the sky, it was grey. She wanted more than she ever could say, but she knew how it frightened her, and she turned away and would not look at his face again. He said, I want to live as an honest man, to get all I deserve and to give all I can, and to love a young woman who I don't understand. Your Highness, your ways are very strange. But the crown, it had fallen, and she thought she would break. She stood there, ashamed of the way her heart ached. She took him to the doorstep, and she asked him to wait. She would only be a moment inside. Out in the distance, her order was heard, and the soldier was killed, still waiting for her word. And while the queen went on strangling in the solitude she preferred, the battle continued on.
Right, Joe. I know who CDR is. It's not Chris Dobson. It's my other friend, Chris. And he's repeated in the comments here that bass playing always reminds him of Paul McCartney. Go.
Yeah, it's one of the I think Chris left an Amazon review saying it was very McCartney influenced bass line. And I would just like to make the point that nothing I have ever done has been influenced by Paul McCartney, because I haven't listened to much of the stuff. Oh, that's not true, actually. I did once do a rap in a cod Jamaican accent about Meat Free Mondays. That was very McCartney influenced. Yeah, so that song I've never actually, I think everyone else has, but I've never heard the Suzanne Vega version of that one. So we just sort of came in, and I think the guys already had it going, and yeah, we just altered it a little bit. I've got no idea how different it is, but we've got a slightly different vibe. So we've gone from, I think she's in 4/4, which is very much like a 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're in 12/8 there, so we're going 1 and 2 and 3. So it just gives it a little bit more of a lilt, which is quite nice. And we sort of kept it quite spare with just the bass in the intro, and sort of a lot of the way through. And then the brass section, we needed to, because what we quite like to do with our arrangements is kind of keep it chopping and changing a little bit to kind of maintain interest. But with that one, we sort of go round and round quite a lot. So we just needed a bit of a change. And I can't really remember what we actually do live in that section or have ever done.
It's usually nothing.
Nothing.
It's usually just the
Yeah.
vocals, yeah.
Tell people to imagine it and that they need to buy an album to hear it. That's what we use.
Yeah, it was a gap that we kind of wanted to fill a little bit with that brass. So I think there's 4 or 5 voices. Yeah, and it's all sort of quite dense chordally as well. But it just creates a sort of a complete contrast to everything else that's gone before it, really.
It always reminds me, and I don't know why especially, but it always reminds me of the Anchor song by Björk on Björk's first album. There's something about the clashes of chords that's quite similar to that, which is a good thing because that's a great song.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. It's a couple of nice comments about the brass. I didn't actually see them. I was trying to ignore them because I was talking and I would have just ended up reading them. But yeah, thank you. That's really kind. Claire is always saying that she finds so there's the verse with the kind of the 5-piece, and then there's the second half of the verse with just a trumpet, and you find that quite evocative of the sort of the kind of the hunting horn, don't you?
Yeah. My family are all farmers, and hunting is quite a tradition. And with the hunting horn, it's quite common in Cornwall. To hear that, so yeah, it's a big reminder of that for me.
And then there's some really nice nylon string guitar on the outro, which again was contributed by Lucas. It's very quiet, but it is in there. You've got to listen, and it's just going against the pulse that we've set up. It's a really nice little addition, and I think it ends the album quite nicely.
I love playing that live as well. That's one that's always better in the second half of a tour than the first half of the tour, isn't it? Because you've got to be tight on that, and it takes a couple of gigs probably just to get it spot on. But I really enjoy the interplay between the guitar and the bass on the bits that we do together, Joe. I always look forward to that.
Yeah.
And the two the vocal, Anita's vocals with Claire's harmonies as well, lovely. Just a reminder for people that if you want to chuck a few quid in our tip jar, it's paypal.me/roadnottaken, but no obligation whatsoever. And if you haven't got a copy of the album, we'd very much love you to buy one. And there's stuff on the website. There's tote bags and mugs and things on the website. So that's roadnottaken.co.uk. There's one more song on the album. That's actually the last song on the album. But we're going to do the song that we haven't done slightly differently. So talk amongst yourselves, guys, while I set this up, if you would.
So the song that we missed out is another of Anita's originals called The Grey of the Water, and it's the only one that we filmed a video for. It was the lead single off the album, and we did a little video for it as well. So we thought it'd be nice to kind of show you all that while we're playing it.
So we're going to watch this video together. I'm going to mute everybody because that seems to have solved. I don't know where it's coming from.
We
But
worked out that it's obviously my fault, as we suspected that all technical problems are my fault.
It's nobody's fault. It's one of those.
When you
things.
muted me, I think it solved the problem.
Yeah, but I'm going to mute everybody, and we'll watch the video in this little window down here. Or shall I put it bigger? What do you think? No, I'll leave it where it is. Leave it where it is. But let's mute everybody and then we'll get this going. So this is the video that we made for the Grey of the Water, and then Anita can talk about it. And this is the last one from us. Thank you very much for joining in. Here we go.
The grey of the water, where the kingfisher flies, the blue of the river, where my true love lies. The blue of the river under October skies, the black of the water where my true hope dies, the black of the pebbles like my own lover's eyes. The green of the river where my true love the green of the river where the hawk swoops and cries, the grey of the shadows where my true love lies, the grey of the water where the kingfisher flies, the blue of the river where my true love lies.
Well, I mean, Joe, you have to take most of the credit for that video because it was all your idea and you directed it, really. So, do you want to talk a little bit about the video, and then Anita can talk about the song?
Yeah. So I can't remember where the idea for the kind of circular thing. I'm sure it's something that's been done quite a lot, but I always feel like if you're going to do a music video where it's got that element of performance, I think it's quite nice to do it in that sort of one take kind of way. I don't know, feels a bit more kind of authentic to me. And then, so the venue where we filmed so I used to work in a farm shop near Bath, where they had it was still a functioning farm as well. So there were plenty of barns. And this one was one of the ones that didn't really get used for anything other than storing stuff. So I think I was sort of in there one day kind of thinking, oh, it's quite a nice space. So they very kindly allowed us to use it for the day free, which was
as long as we
nice.
cleared it out first.
Yeah. Well,
We saved them a job. So
there was quite a lot of tidying up to do. So we did quite a lot of tidying up, and then dressed it all. And Alan, I can't remember Alan's surname.
Alan Cole
helped us out with the lights and everything. And Rich Hawkins came and filmed it for us.
Rich Hawks.
Rich Hawks came and filmed it for us and did and helped out with us dressing it and making sure it looked all really nice. And Chris Dobson was there as well. I believe there's a bit where it kind of comes around. You can sort of see that it's actually the bottom of a platform behind Anita, and Chris was up there for basically the entire day. So we got it clear and we dressed it and we lit it all up, and then we did. See, I don't remember it being that many takes, but
I think it's about 20.
14.
Claire thinks 20. Chris in the chat said 11. Anita saying 14.
I think teens somewhere.
I don't know. But yeah, so it was a lot of it looks excellent on there. I mean, Rich really did a fantastic job of capturing it all. But if we had a mounted camera, I think it would be quite funny to watch Rich. He had it on a gimbal, had the camera on a gimbal, and he was basically, by the last couple of verses, running backwards with the camera while also trying to keep it straight. And at no point did he hit the deck. He did very well.
Yeah.
He was an absolute warrior that day, to be fair.
Yeah,
he was
and I mean, you can see the results there. It really did come out really nicely.
Yeah. Anita, just before we finish, just tell us a little bit about the song, because that's another one of your originals.
Yeah, I think it was based on walks that I used to do along the River Frome from Stuff Mills. So I think it's a very atmospheric river, isn't it? And the colours change in the water depending on what the weather is. So when it's blue skies above, then you get these lovely bluey greens in the water. But if it's a really grey day, just the water just looks black or grey or whatever. So I guess that song had really been mulling around in my brain for quite some time on those different walks. And obviously the birds always looking for the kingfisher. And then the fact that there was a memorial for somebody on a bench as well, I kind of created the story about. But yeah, I love birds and I love the atmosphere. I love the way that the same place changes every time you go, depending on how you're feeling and how the weather is. So all of that kind of got thrown into the mix. And I remember singing you just the melody, and I remember you looking at me a little bit puzzled, and you said, "But you're quite a cheerful person, Anita." So there's obviously something about me being normally a pretty cheerful person, but I love to throw some deep melancholy into the songs.
And we stuck a tune on the end as well, didn't we? Was it Claire?
Yeah.
You came up with that
Well,
tune.
I had the tune between the verses. I had a tune in my head which I had composed while doing the washing up one Sunday. And I'd recorded it and thought, I wonder what I should do with that. And then suddenly realised sometime later, actually, that would go well with those, between those verses. And then Claire, I think you wrote that big tune on the end, so developing.
Yeah, it's part King of the Fairies and part own written. So it's in a A-B format. So the A section is King of the Fairies, and then the B section is something that I cropped together because the B section of the King of the Fairies didn't really fit into the song. So yeah,
it's another one that Claire likes to challenge me pace-wise And we generally do it last or before the
Competition.
encore, but we generally do it last. So I'm sort of coming to the end of the gig and flagging a little bit, and then Claire just ramps up the pace just a little bit, and I'm like,
She gets a
You get
glint
the
in her
look from
eye,
me that
doesn't
just
she?
goes, go on, go on.
You can see she gets a glint in her eye, and she's like, "Yep, I'm gonna wind down up here and see how fast I can go."
we're out of time, really. It's been great. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in and stayed with us. It's gone on an hour and a half, and people have stuck with us, which is just lovely. So thank you so much, and thank you for the comments. Linda, we would love to come and do a gig at Winterbourne Medieval Barn, or a video, or anything like that. I know you, so we will be in touch, or I'll put you in touch with Joe, our agent. But yes, thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. I'm glad the tech worked. Sorry about the echo issues, but I think we got there in the end. Just a final reminder, we have a PayPal tip jar. There's no expectation to put anything in it, but if you'd like to, then it's at paypal.me/roadnottaken. More importantly than that, if you're not already signed up to our mailing list or given us a follow on Facebook or on Twitter or Instagram, or those sorts of places, then that is currency too, and we'd love to have you along in those places so that we can keep you up to date with what we're up to. We're hoping that there will be a new record at some point in the not too distant future, depending on circumstances. So the mailing list is the best way we can keep you in touch. But subscribe on YouTube, all those sorts of things. Please do all that. Have I missed anything else?
If you've enjoyed what you've heard and you don't already have an album, just buy a blooming album on Bandcamp.
That's what we'd really like you to do.
Yeah.
Is that roadnottaken.bandcamp.com? There's a link on the website. There's a link on roadnottaken.co.uk. You can do all those things on roadnottaken.co.uk.
Well, thanks, Joe, for your comments. I just seen Joe's comment. I hope this has been really entertaining. I hope entertaining in the right ways.
Yeah, it's been nice to see you again, Joe. We're going to leave you with because we've not played live for a very long time, but we have a video of us playing "I'll Weave My Love a Garland" at Soundbox in Chester. So just to prove that we can actually do it live, and that we will again at some point in the future. But we'll leave you with this. But thank you all very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
We my love a garland, it shall be dressed so fine. I set it round with roses, lilies, pinks, and thyme, and I'll present it to my love when he comes back from sea.
Cheers.